These are the countries where an NFL regular season game has been played or is planning to be played. And these are the cities that an regular season game has been played in. I personally am a big fan of geography. I like a lot of history, culture, and geography, so this is one of my big interests. And with the NFL wanting to go global, there is bound to be more NFL international games on the way. So the question is, where should the NFL expand to next? Where should they play more regular season games? Now, before we start this video, I do want to mention something that the NFL has been playing overseas for a long time, and for 20 years from the 80s and mid 2000s they had the American Bowl with an annual preseason exhibition game, and even played against the CFL in the 1950s and 60s, NFL versus CFL games, and have played exhibit games in the 1970s and 80s. So these are all the cities which an NFL preseason game has been played from 1926 to 2005. 59 football games were played across 14 cities and 9 countries. They were all preseason games. Since 2007, 57 have been played in 7 cities and 5 countries. Only 3 were preseason games. So yeah, overseas games are nothing new. It's just that regular season games are being played outside the US just now. And we'll list some criteria, such as flight time should not be too long, which shouldn't be that big of a deal since they're charter flights, and timing matters. It shouldn't be in the middle of the night in either places. The stadium should have a capacity of at least 50,000 people, and there should be a designated home marketing area for that city or country. A home marketing area is basically where an NFL team gets the rights to market and develop the game in a certain country. So with that 3 criteria, let's get to it. First one is obvious, in my opinion, it's Paris. Paris has been in the talks for a long time. They just hosted the Olympics in 2024. They have a stadium with over 70,000 people. It actually has over 80,000 seating capacity. The NFL has been able to draw over 80,000 people in international games, and we saw this with London and even Mexico City. Paris has the same time zone as Germany. Germany is 3 German cities have hosted NFL games or are going to with Berlin this year. Yeah, I can see Paris definitely being a candidate. They already got the ties with the New Orleans Saints, and they even have announced partnership with the Paris Musketeers, which is the ELF team in Paris. Again, a flight to Paris from New Orleans to Paris is not that far. I mean, we've already seen games in Germany, so it should be fine. And who knows, if the Saints end up with Arch Manning, then this could elevate the talks of having an NFL game in Paris. Anyway, my next candidate on the list is going to be Tokyo. Tokyo hosted several American Bowl games in the 90s and early 2000s. We had an annual MLB series in Japan. I mean, imagine Pikachu now in full NFL gear. Japan National Stadium has a capacity well over 50,000 and hosted the 2020 Summer Olympics, and the home marketing area for Japan is the Los Angeles Rams. Now, looking at the time, in Central Time, Japan is 14 hours ahead, and you can do the math for the other time zones. I mean, Melbourne, for example, which is going to get an NFL game, is 1 hour ahead of Tokyo. And for flying time, again, Melbourne, they're going to be to Melbourne. The LAX to Japan is around 11 to 12 hours. Alright, for timing, this is tricky. The first option is to play it in the afternoon in Tokyo, but it would be very late night in the East Coast. Though the other time zones, it would be doable. Or 2, play it early morning in the US, which would make it late night in Japan. I'll go with the first option. I mean, sure, the East Coast would have to stay up late, but they stay up late for West Coast games, so it really doesn't matter in the end. Anyway, the last candidate is Buenos Aires, Argentina. Buenos Aires is definitely a sleeper pick. I mean, they're really good at soccer. Everybody knows that. They won the last World Cup. They're good at rugby. They consistently make the Rugby World Cup, and they produced some good NBA talents over the years, with Manu being a Hall of Famer. I'd love a game at the southern tip, maybe in Ushuaia, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's just not going to happen. Their largest stadium is Mas Monumental, is how it's pronounced, I think, and they have a capacity of over 80,000 fans. And the team with the HMA is the Miami Dolphins, which makes a lot of sense. If you've been to Miami, it's known as mini Latin America. It's a big reason why Lionel Messi signed with Inter Miami. A flight from Miami to Argentina would be around 8 to 9 hours, and Argentina is just 1 hour ahead of Miami, so they could play at noon or just have an earlier Sunday Night Football game. And if the NFL could make its mark in Brazil, what's not to say it could do it in Buenos Aires? Now, here's some honorable mentions. These are countries already hosting NFL games that could host in other cities. First up, Manchester. London is a smash hit with expansion talks, but Manchester has an amazing soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, scene. It's under 3 hours from London, and we also have to mention that entire area, or megalopolis, whatever you call it, there's a lot of players from people from neighboring cities that could attend the game. And Old Trafford hosts over 70,000 people, so you could make it work. And there are other cities too in that area that could host a game. You were talking about Liverpool, Leeds, Sheffield, although Liverpool is the only one out of that three which has a stadium over 50,000. But I think Manchester is the most likely option to get an NFL game if that ever happens. Next, we have to talk about Rio. I'm surprised they went with Sao Paulo, although Sao Paulo is massive. Rio hosted the 1950 and 2014 World Cup final with a capacity of over 70,000. Rio is just a massive tourist destination with lots of places to see. They would have no problem filling up the stands, and plus, I know it's a bit longer from London to the northwest part of England, but it's under 6 hours, so it could work. But I think Rio and Manchester are great hits to at least consider if you're going to expand the football in that country. But what do you think? Do you think the NFL should expand to more countries, or should they keep the number of international games the same? I would like to hear your thoughts, and this is just a fun thought experiment for me as someone who likes a lot of geography and stuff, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. Be sure to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.